Ambassador Jack Harper sat in his private quarters aboard the human diplomatic vessel Endeavour. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. He enjoyed these rare peaceful moments between the endless meetings and negotiations that filled his days. A glass of whiskey rested on the small table beside him. He looked out at the stars through his viewport. The galaxy seemed so peaceful from this distance. Billions of stars, millions of worlds, thousands of intelligent species, and somehow humans had managed to make their mark among them in just a few short decades since first contact. The pleasant silence broke when his AI assistant's voice came through the room speakers. Ambassador Harper, I apologize for the interruption. There is an urgent broadcast being transmitted across all Galactic Council channels. It appears to be coming directly from the Zoraxian Empire. Harper sat up straight. The Zoraxians rarely communicated through public channels. As the dominant power in the galaxy for over 1,000 years, they preferred to work through private diplomatic channels or simply issue commands. Put it on screen, please, Harper said. The viewport transformed into a display screen. The imperial crest of the Zoraxian Empire appeared first, a stylized predatory creature with multiple limbs clutching a cluster of stars. The crest faded to reveal Emperor Vexillar himself. Even through the screen, the Emperor was intimidating. His scaled skin was deep purple with golden markings of royal lineage. 4 yellow eyes blinked independently as he stared into the camera. When he spoke, his translator conveyed his words in perfect standard English, but couldn't hide the cold, emotionless tone. Citizens of the galactic community, subjects of the eternal Zoraxian Empire, and observers from non-aligned worlds, I address you directly to announce justice delivered upon those who would threaten galactic stability. Harper felt a chill run down his spine. The Emperor rarely made public announcements, and they were never good news. The colony world of Nariva has harbored seditious elements that sought to reject imperial protection and guidance. Despite numerous warnings, these elements continued to spread disorder and cultivate relationships with expansionist powers. Harper leaned forward. Nariva. The name was familiar. A developing world in the outer systems of the Zoraxian territory. Its people had made quiet overtures to Earth in recent months, seeking trade agreements and possibly protection. Today, I have authorized the execution of 50,000 Narivan citizens identified as participants in these seditious activities. Harper's glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. 50,000? This wasn't justice. This was a massacre. Let all worlds considering similar paths understand that the peace of the galaxy requires order, and order requires consequences, the Emperor continued. The remainder of the Narivan population will undergo re-education. This broadcast will now show excerpts from the administration of justice. Screen off, Harper shouted. He had no desire to watch the Zoraxian version of justice. His hands shook as he reached for his secure communicator. Ambassador Harper to Earth Command. Priority Channel Alpha, he said. While waiting for the connection, Harper accessed his files on Nariva. The planet had been under Zoraxian control for nearly 3 centuries, but its people had never fully integrated into the Empire. Recently, they had secretly reached out to Earth for help with agriculture and medical aid. Harper had approved sending a humanitarian mission of. His blood ran cold as he found the information. 312 human aid workers had been on Nariva. Had they been among the executed? The communicator screen lit up, showing the face of President Eleanor Reyes. Her expression was grim. You've seen the broadcast, she said. It wasn't a question. Madam President, we had people on Nariva, the agricultural aid mission. All dead, Jack. The Zoraxians made no distinction between Narivans and our people. Harper closed his eyes briefly. 312 innocent humans, murdered for helping a world grow food. This can't stand, Harper said. It won't, the president replied. I've just finished an emergency meeting with the Joint Chiefs in the cabinet. We're issuing new orders to you, Ambassador. Harper nodded. Whatever you need, Madam President. You are to proceed immediately to Centauri Station. Once there, you will demand an audience with the full Galactic Council. You will present evidence of the massacre and the deaths of our citizens, And you will demand justice, not just for our people, but for all 50,000 victims. Harper took a deep breath. What the president was asking was unprecedented. No human diplomat had ever addressed the full council. The Zoraxians had always blocked such attempts, allowing humans only to speak to lesser committees with no real power. The Zoraxians will block the request, Harper said. Then you'll need to be creative. I'm authorizing you to use any diplomatic means necessary. We're sending you full documentation of the massacre and profiles of our murdered citizens. The president's expression hardened. The Fifth Fleet is being mobilized. They'll be positioned near the Council neutral zone in 3 days. We prefer a diplomatic solution, but we're prepared for alternatives. You're threatening war with the Zoraxian Empire, Harper said quietly. They executed our citizens, Jack. They've been pushing us back since we emerged onto the galactic stage. If diplomatic options fail, we need to show them humanity won't be bullied into submission. She leaned closer to the screen. But war is the last resort. That's why I'm sending you. Find a way to make the council listen. I'll do my best, Madam President. I know you will. Earth Command out. The screen went dark. Harper stood and walked to his viewport, looking again at the stars. Somewhere out there, 312 families would soon learn their loved ones were never coming home. His door chimed. Enter, he called. Security Chief Alan Blackwood stepped in. The former Marine's face was a mask of controlled anger. I assume you've received new orders, he asked. We're heading to Centauri Station. Prepare the diplomatic team. I want Dr. Wells for her expertise in galactic law, and Major Donovan for military attaché duties. Harper straightened his uniform and put the ship on high alert. The Zoraxians may decide it's easier to eliminate us than let us reach the council. Blackwood nodded. Already done, sir. The crew is ready. Just give the word. The word is given. Set course for Centauri Station, maximum speed. As Blackwood left, Harper looked at his broken glass on the floor. Fitting, he thought. The peace between humans and the Zoraxian Empire had just shattered as well. 12 light-years away, aboard a Zoraxian military outpost, Lieutenant Kayla Zev stared at her terminal in horror. The broadcast had reached even this remote station. Unlike her fellow officers celebrating in the mess hall, she could find no glory in the execution of civilians. As the third highest-ranking intelligence officer on the station, she had access to the true reports from Nariva. Reports that contradicted everything in the Emperor's broadcast. Reports that suggested this massacre had been orchestrated not by the Emperor, but by General Drath, with one specific purpose: to provoke the humans into war. Checking to ensure she was alone, Kayla began copying files. If she was caught, she would be executed as a traitor. But if she remained silent, billions might die in a war built on lies. The truth had to reach someone who could use it. Someone like the human diplomat, now racing toward Centauri Station. The Endeavour emerged from faster-than-light travel near Centauri Station. The massive structure floated in space, a neutral ground where representatives from hundreds of worlds conducted diplomatic business. 6 giant arms extended from a central hub, each arm housing embassies, meeting rooms, and living quarters for various species. Ambassador Jack Harper stood on the bridge as they approached. He had not slept well during the 3-day journey. Every time he closed his eyes, he imagined the deaths of the aid workers on Nariva. "We're being hailed by station control," said the communications officer. Harper nodded. "Put them through." A blue-skinned Centaurian appeared on screen. "Human vessel Endeavour, this is Centauri Station Control. State your business." "This is Ambassador Jack Harper of Earth. I request docking permission and diplomatic quarters for myself and my team. We have urgent business with the Galactic Council." The Centaurian looked down at something off-screen, then back up with a frown. "I see no scheduled council appearances for human representatives. This is an emergency petition. The murder of Earth citizens requires immediate council attention." The Centaurian looked uncomfortable. "One moment, Ambassador." The screen went blank. Harper waited, counting the seconds. After nearly 2 minutes, the Centaurian returned. Docking permission granted at Arm 3, Bay 17. You are assigned diplomatic quarters in Section D. However, I must inform you that the Council is not currently in session. The next scheduled meeting is in 14 standard days. Harper kept his face neutral. Thank you. We will dock immediately. As the screen went dark, Major Sam Donovan stepped forward. The military attaché wore a simple blue uniform with minimal decorations, but his posture revealed his background. They're stalling. Us, Donovan said. Of course they are, Harper replied. The Zoraxians control half the station administrators. Prepare the team. Once we dock, the real work begins. 3 hours later, Harper sat in their assigned quarters with his core team. The rooms were adequate but placed far from the central hub where the council chambers were located. Dr. Olivia Wells, a tall woman with short gray hair, tapped on her datapad. I've reviewed all Galactic Council procedures. There are 17 different ways to request an emergency session. The Zoraxians will block all of them. But they can't block them all instantly, Harper said. We just need one request to gain traction before they shut it down. Security Chief Alan Blackwood entered the room. I've completed the security sweep. The quarters are clean of listening devices, but I spotted 2 Zoraxian security officers watching our dock. They're not being subtle. Harper nodded. They want us to know we're being watched. I also made contact with the Andorian embassy, Blackwood continued. Ambassador Trell has agreed to meet with you privately tonight. Harper raised his eyebrows. The Andorians had always maintained strict neutrality in human affairs. A meeting was unexpected. That's promising, Harper said. Dr. Wells, continue searching for procedural options. Major Donovan, I want a full analysis of station security protocols. If things go badly, we may need an exit strategy. As his team dispersed, Harper opened a secure channel to Earth. President Reyes needed an update, even if he had little progress to report. Meanwhile, across the station, Lieutenant Kayla Zev moved through the crowded transport hub. She had managed to secure passage on a merchant vessel, disguising herself as a common worker. Her purple scales were hidden under a hooded cloak, and she had applied temporary coloring to hide her royal markings. The data chip containing the evidence felt heavy in her pocket. If station security scanned her and found it, she would be arrested immediately. Not just for possessing classified information, but for being absent without leave from her post. She passed a public view screen showing the latest news from across the galaxy. The Nereva executions were still the main story. The announcer described the swift justice delivered to seditious elements, never questioning the Empire's actions. Kayla felt sick. The truth was in her pocket, orders from General Drath that had been hidden even from Emperor Vexillar. Orders that revealed the executions had been planned months ago, specifically to eliminate the human aid workers and provoke Earth into a hasty military response. She needed to find the human ambassador. But first, she needed a safe place to hide. Later, that evening, Harper made his way through the less populated areas of the station to meet Ambassador Trell. Blackwood had insisted on coming along, but Harper had refused. The Andorians would see multiple humans as a sign of distrust. The meeting location was a small garden area designed to mimic the forests of Andoria. Tall blue plants surrounded a clearing with a single bench. Ambassador Trell was already waiting. Andorians were humanoid but with blue skin and white hair. 2 antennae on their heads moved slightly as they sensed their surroundings. Trell stood as Harper approached. Ambassador Harper, these are troubled times. Harper nodded. Thank you for meeting with me, Ambassador Trell. I cannot be seen publicly, supporting your cause. The Zoraxian Empire has long memories and little forgiveness. I understand any guidance you can offer would be appreciated. Trell gestured to the bench. As they sat, he spoke quietly. The massacre on Nereva was not what it appears. Harper leaned forward. What do you mean? Our intelligence suggests the executions were engineered by a faction within the Zoraxian military, specifically to provoke your people. Why would they want war with Earth? They fear you. Trell's antennae twitched. Humans have accomplished in decades what took other species centuries. Your adaptability threatens them. But more importantly, we believe they have developed a new weapon, a device capable of destabilizing planetary cores. Harper felt cold despite the warm air in the garden. They want to test it on Earth. Precisely. They need a justification for such an extreme action. Your military response to the Nareva massacre would provide that justification. I need to speak to the Council immediately, Harper said. That will be difficult. The Zoraxians have already pressured half the Council members to oppose any human petition. There must be a way. Trell was silent for a moment. There is one possibility. An ancient provision in the Council Charter, dating back to its founding. Any species may demand an emergency hearing in cases of mass casualty events that threaten galactic stability. The Zoraxians will claim this is an internal matter. Yes, but the provision specifically includes cases where citizens of multiple worlds are affected. Your aid workers provide that connection. Trell stood. I must go. Use the provision. It has not been invoked in 700 years, but it remains valid. As Trell departed, Harper's mind raced. This was the opening they needed. If they could force a council hearing, they might prevent a war that would destroy Earth. He didn't notice the shadowy figure watching from behind the blue plants, nor the small recording device capturing every word. In the central security hub of the station, a Zoraxian officer replayed the recording, then opened a secure channel. General Drath, the humans know about the weapon. They're planning to invoke the emergency casualty provision to force a council hearing. The face of General Drath appeared on screen, his golden markings identifying him as a member of the highest military caste. Then we must ensure they never reach the council chamber, the general said. Eliminate the ambassador and his team. Make it look like an accident. It will be done, General. As Harper walked back to his quarters, unaware of the danger, Lieutenant Kayla Zev watched from a distance. She had found the human ambassador, but she wasn't the only one watching him. Harper returned to the human quarters and called his team together. The room was dimly lit as they gathered around a small table. We have a way forward, Harper said. There's an old provision in the Council Charter, the emergency casualty provision. It allows us to demand a hearing when citizens of multiple worlds are affected by a mass casualty event. Dr. Wells nodded with excitement. Of course, it's in the original founding documents. No one has used it in centuries, but it's still valid. Will the Zoraxians be able to block it? Blackwood asked. They'll try, Harper replied. But if we file the petition correctly, the Council must at least consider it. More importantly, Ambassador Trell confirmed our suspicions. The massacre was engineered specifically to provoke us into war. Why would they want war now? Major Donovan asked. They've been content to limit our expansion for years. They have. A new weapon, Harper said quietly. Something that can destabilize planetary cores. The room fell silent. Donovan was the first to speak. They want to use it on Earth. Yes, Harper confirmed. We need to alert Earth Command immediately, but we also need to be careful. The Zoraxians likely have this place under surveillance. I'll prepare the secure channel using rotating frequencies, Blackwood said, moving to the communications equipment. While they worked, Harper shared everything Ambassador Trell had told him. The team began preparing the formal petition, gathering evidence about the human aid workers who had died on Nareva. The petition must be delivered in person to the Council Registrar, Dr. Wells explained. Once filed, they have 24 hours to respond. I'll deliver it myself, Harper said. Blackwood frowned. That's not safe, sir. Let me do it. No. This needs diplomatic authority behind it. I'll go, but I want you with me, Alan. Before Blackwood could respond, a soft chime came from the door. Everyone froze. They weren't expecting visitors. Blackwood moved to the security panel and checked the camera. In the hallway stood a hooded figure, face hidden. Unknown visitor, Blackwood reported, his hand moving to his concealed weapon. Security scan? Harper asked. No weapons detected. Wait, there's something odd about the life sign readings. Not human, but trying to mask their signature. Harper considered for a moment. Let them in, but be ready. The door slid open. The hooded figure stepped inside quickly. As the door closed, The figure pulled back the hood, revealing purple-scaled skin with faint golden markings. A Zoraxian female. Blackwood drew his weapon, but Harper raised a hand. "Who are you?" Harper demanded. "My name is Lieutenant Kayla Zev, Zoraxian Intelligence Corps. I've come with information about the Nareva massacres." For several seconds, no one moved. Then Harper nodded to Blackwood, who lowered his weapon but didn't put it away. "Why would a Zoraxian officer help us?" Donovan asked suspiciously. Kayla reached slowly into her pocket and removed a data chip. "Because what happened on Nareva wasn't the Emperor's order. It was General Drath's plan. I have proof." Harper gestured to Dr. Wells, who took the chip and inserted it into a secure reader that would check for harmful code before accessing the data. "Why are you betraying your people?" Harper asked directly. Kayla's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of emotional distress in Zoraxians. "I'm not betraying my people. I'm trying to save them. General Drath doesn't care how many Zoraxians die if it gives him the war he wants. The evidence shows he's planning to sacrifice 3 of our colony worlds just to test the new weapon." The reader beeped, indicating the chip was clean. Dr. Wells began reviewing the files. "Ambassador," she said after a moment, "this appears to be authentic. Military orders, communication logs, technical specifications for a device that matches what Ambassador Trell described." Harper looked back at Kayla. "You understand that by bringing this to us, you've committed treason against the Empire?" "Yes," she said simply. "But loyalty to one's species must sometimes outweigh loyalty to one's government." Harper was about to respond when a loud explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered and emergency alarms began blaring. "What was that?" Harper demanded. Blackwood was already at the security panel. "Explosion in Section D, Level 3. That's..." His face went pale. "That's our quarters. The explosion came from inside our assigned rooms." "They tried to kill us," Donovan said. "They think they succeeded," Harper realized. "We were officially assigned to those quarters. As far as station records show, we should have been there." Kayla stepped forward. "General Drath. He must have discovered you know about the weapon. He'll do anything to stop you from reaching the Yaw Council." Another alarm sounded, this one on Dr. Wells's datapad. She looked up with concern. "The station is going into emergency lockdown. All non-essential personnel are being ordered to remain in their quarters. All transport between sections is being halted for security checks. They're locking down the station to find us," Blackwood said. Harper thought quickly. "We need to split up. They'll be looking for a group of humans. Donovan, take Dr. Wells and continue preparing the petition. Find a secure location and stay hidden. Blackwood, you and I will deliver the petition to the council registrar." "What about me?" Kayla asked. Harper studied her. Trusting a Zoraxian went against everything he had been taught, but the evidence she brought seemed genuine. "You know Zoraxian security protocols. Can you help Donovan and Dr. Wells avoid detection?" Kayla nodded. "Yes. I can also show them how to access the maintenance tunnels. Security rarely monitors those." "Good. We meet at the council registrar's office in 3 hours. If anyone doesn't make it, the others proceed with the plan." As they prepared to leave, Blackwood pulled Harper aside. "Sir, are you sure we can trust her?" "No," Harper admitted. "But her information matches what Trell told us. And if she wanted us dead, she could have simply given our location to Zoraxian security instead of coming here." Before they could leave, Dr. Wells called them to the communication terminal. "Ambassador, there's an incoming message from Earth Command, Priority Alpha." Harper activated the secure line. President Reyes appeared on screen, her expression grim. "Jack, the Fifth Fleet, has detected Zoraxian warships moving toward Earth. They'll arrive in less than 48 hours. The Joint Chiefs are pushing for a preemptive strike. Madam President, we have confirmation the Nareva massacre was engineered to provoke exactly that response. They have a new weapon that can destroy planets. They want us to attack first, to justify using it." The President's eyes widened. "How certain are you?" "We have evidence from 2 independent sources. We're attempting to bring it before the Council, but there have been complications. Someone just tried to kill us. I'll hold the fleet back for 24 hours, but that's all I can promise. The political pressure to respond is intense." Her image flickered as the connection became unstable. "Get that evidence to the council, Jack. It's our only hope of avoiding war." The screen went dark as the connection failed. Harper turned to his team. "We have 24 hours to prevent a war. Let's move." As they prepared to split up, station security announcements echoed through the corridors. "Attention all station, personnel and visitors. A terrorist incident has occurred in the diplomatic quarters. Be on alert for 4 humans and possibly a Zoraxian defector. They are considered armed and extremely dangerous." The hunt had begun. Harper and Blackwood moved carefully through the maintenance corridors of Centauri Station. The narrow passageways were dim and filled with pipes and cables. Few people use these areas except for repair workers. "Station security will be watching all the main hallways," Blackwood said, checking a small device that showed a map of the station. "But we're only 2 levels away from the council registrar's office." Harper nodded. His diplomatic uniform was now dirty and torn at one sleeve. "Any sign we're being followed?" "Not that I can detect, but the Zoraxians have technology that can mask life signs." They reached a junction where the corridor split in 3 directions. Blackwood checked his map again. Left here, then up 1 level through the service lift. As they walked, Harper thought about Kayla Zev. The Zoraxian lieutenant had risked everything to bring them evidence. Either she was telling the truth or this was the most elaborate trap he had ever encountered. "Sir," Blackwood said suddenly, stopping. "Listen." Harper heard it too. Voices coming from ahead. They moved back to the junction and took a different path. "We'll need to go around," Blackwood said. "It will take longer." "Time is something we don't have," Harper replied. Meanwhile, Major Donovan, Dr. Wells, and Lieutenant Kayla were moving through a different set of maintenance tunnels. Kayla led the way, her knowledge of Zoraxian security protocols proving valuable. "There's a security checkpoint ahead," she whispered, holding up a hand to stop them. "Wait here." She moved forward alone to a small terminal embedded in the wall. Her fingers moved quickly across the controls. "What is she doing?" Donovan whispered to Dr. Wells. "I believe she's creating a false alarm in another section to draw security away," Wells replied. A moment later, Kayla returned. "We have approximately 2 minutes before they realize it's a false alarm. Move quickly." They hurried past the checkpoint and into a storage area filled with supplies for the station's various embassies. "The petition is almost ready," Dr. Wells said, checking her datapad. "I've included all the evidence we have about the human aid workers plus Lieutenant Zev's data about General Drath's plans." "Will it be enough?" Donovan asked. "It has to be," Wells replied. "The provision requires evidence of casualties from multiple worlds, which we have. The council must at least grant a hearing." Kayla had moved to a small viewport. "Look," she said. Donovan and Wells joined her. Through the viewport, they could see a Zoraxian warship docking at the station. "That's a military transport," Kayla said. "Troop carrier class." "How many soldiers can it hold?" Donovan asked. "At least 100. Donovan's expression darkened. "They're bringing in reinforcements to find us." In another part of the station, a meeting was taking place in a secure room. General Drath stood before a group of Zoraxian security officers. His golden markings gleamed in the harsh light. "The humans must not reach the council," he said. "Our agents report the explosion failed to eliminate them. They are somewhere on the station, likely trying to file some kind of petition." One of the officers spoke up. "General, we've received word that Emperor Vexlar is on his way to the station. He's demanding an explanation for the explosion in the diplomatic quarters." Drath's upper eyes narrowed. "The Emperor was not supposed to interfere. No matter. By the time he arrives, it will be too late. Our fleet is already moving toward Earth. Once their 5th fleet attacks, as they surely will, we will have justification to use the new weapon." "And if they don't attack?" another officer asked. "Then we will create an incident to make it appear they did," Drath replied coldly. "Now find those humans and the traitor Zev." Back in the maintenance corridors, Harper and Blackwood had finally reached the level where the council registrar's office was located. They emerged from a service door into a more public area of the station. Here, representatives from various worlds moved about their business, most unaware of the hunt taking place. "The registrar's office is just ahead," Blackwood said. But we'll be exposed crossing the main concourse. Harper straightened his torn uniform as best he could. We'll walk normally, act like we belong here. They stepped out onto the concourse. Various alien species moved around them, some humanoid, others with wildly different forms. Station announcements periodically reminded everyone about the security alert. They were halfway across when Blackwood tensed. "Zoraxian security, 10 o'clock, he whispered. Harper didn't turn his head but could see the purple-scaled security officers from the corner of his eye. There were 3 of them, scanning the crowd. "Keep walking," Harper said. "Don't rush." They continued at a normal pace. For a moment it seemed they would make it past. Then one of the Zoraxians looked directly at them. His eyes widened in recognition. "Ambassador Harper!" the Zoraxian called out. "Stop where you are!" Harper and Blackwood broke into a run. The concourse erupted in confusion as people moved out of the way. Behind them, the Zoraxian security officers gave chase. "The office is just ahead," Blackwood said, pulling out his weapon. They reached a set of ornate doors with the seal of the Galactic Council. Harper pushed them open and they rushed inside. The room beyond was a large reception area with several staff members, both Zoraxian and other species. "I need to see the Council Registrar immediately," Harper demanded, addressing an elderly Centaurian behind the main desk. The Centaurian blinked in surprise. "Ambassador Harper? But you're under arrest," came a voice from behind them. Harper turned to see the Zoraxian security officers entering, weapons drawn. The lead officer stepped forward. "Ambassador Jack Harper, you are charged with terrorism and conspiracy against the Zoraxian Empire. Surrender now." Blackwood raised his weapon, but Harper put a hand on his arm. "We're here on official diplomatic business," Harper said loudly, addressing everyone in the room. "I invoke the emergency casualty provision of the Galactic Council Charter." The room fell silent. The Zoraxian officer looked uncertain for a moment. "That provision is ancient and unused," he said finally. "But still valid," came a new voice. From a side door, Dr. Wells entered, followed by Major Donovan and Lieutenant Calla. Wells held up her datapad. "The complete petition, with all required evidence," she said, approaching the Centaurian clerk, "including proof that the Nariva massacre was engineered by General Drath to provoke war with Earth." The Zoraxian officers raised their weapons again, but a commanding voice stopped them. "Lower your weapons immediately!" Everyone turned toward the main entrance. There, flanked by his own guards, stood Emperor Vexillar himself. His royal markings were more elaborate than Drath's, and his presence commanded immediate attention. The security officers lowered their weapons and bowed deeply. "Emperor Vexillar," the lead officer said, "we were not informed of your arrival." "Clearly," the Emperor replied coldly. He turned to Harper. "Ambassador, I received word of an attack on your quarters. Now I find my own security forces threatening. A diplomatic representative, explain." Before Harper could speak, another figure entered the room. General Drath. "My Emperor," Drath said, bowing. "These humans are attempting to spread lies about our glorious empire. They claim the Nariva operation was unauthorized." "It was more than unauthorized," Harper said. "It was designed specifically to provoke war." The Emperor's 4 eyes shifted between Harper and Drath. "Serious accusations require evidence, Ambassador." "We have it," Harper replied, nodding to Dr. Wells. Wells handed the datapad to the Centaurian clerk, who in turn presented it to the Emperor. As Vexillar began to review the information, Lieutenant Calla stepped forward. "My Emperor, I can verify the authenticity of those documents. I copied them myself from General Drath's secure files." For the first time, Drath seemed to lose his composure. "This is absurd. She is a traitor. Guards, arrest her." The Emperor raised a hand. "No one will be arrested until I review this evidence." His eyes narrowed as he scrolled through the data. "A hearing will be granted. The full council will convene in 3 hours." Drath's hand moved to a device on his wrist. "You leave me no choice, my Emperor." Suddenly, a new alarm blared throughout the station. The Emperor's guards moved protectively around him. "What have you done, Drath?" the Emperor demanded. Drath smiled coldly. Simply accelerated our plans. The Earth fleet will now receive signals indicating they are under attack. Their response will justify everything. Harper lunged toward Drath, but Zeraxian guards intercepted him. The standoff in the registrar's office had become a prelude to war. The alarm continued to blare throughout Centauri Station. Emperor Vexlar's eyes narrowed as he stared at General Drath. "You have committed treason against the Empire," the Emperor said coldly. "Attempting to start a war without Imperial approval. I serve the Empire better than you understand," Drath replied. "The humans are a threat that must be eliminated before they grow too powerful." Harper stepped forward despite the guards. "Earth doesn't want war with the Zeraxian Empire. We never have, but we won't stand by while our people are murdered." "The evidence is clear," the Emperor said, still holding the datapad. "The Nereva operation was not authorized by the Imperial throne." "We must contact Earth Command immediately," Harper said. "Urgently. If our fleet receives false attack signals, they'll launch a counterattack." The Emperor nodded to one of his guards, who approached a communication terminal. "Open a secure channel to Earth Command." "Belay that order," Drath shouted. Several officers who had entered with him raised their weapons. "This station is now under military control. For the good of the Empire." The room erupted into chaos. Drath's loyal officers fired stun blasts at the Emperor's guards. Blackwood pushed Harper behind a desk for cover. Lieutenant Kayla pulled Dr. Wells down as energy blasts flew overhead. Emperor Vexlar's personal guards formed a protective circle around him, returning fire. The Emperor himself remained calm, his four eyes assessing the situation with cold calculation. "The communications center," Harper shouted to Blackwood over the noise. "We need to reach it to warn Earth." Major Donovan crawled over to join them. "The main comm center will be heavily guarded, but there's a backup system in the council chamber itself." "Can we reach it?" Harper asked. "Not easily," Donovan replied, "but the maintenance tunnels connect to the chamber for emergency services." A blast hit the desk they were using for cover, sending fragments flying. Harper made a quick decision. "Blackwood, Donovan, you're with me. We'll try for the council chamber. Dr. Wells, stay with the Emperor if you can. Make sure he sees all the evidence." Lieutenant Kayla appeared beside them, her uniform scorched from a near miss. "I'm coming with you. You'll need my access codes for the secured sections." Harper nodded. The four of them waited for a break in the firing, then dashed for a side door that led back to the maintenance corridors. Energy blasts followed them, but they made it through. Back in the registrar's office, the Emperor's guards had gained the upper hand. Several of Drath's officers lay stunned on the floor. Drath himself had disappeared during the confusion. "Find General Drath," the Emperor ordered his remaining guards. "He must not be allowed to leave the station." Dr. Wells approached cautiously. "Your Imperial Majesty, Ambassador Harper has gone to try to warn Earth about the false attack signals." The Emperor turned his four eyes toward her. "And you are?" "Dr. Olivia Wells, xenolinguistics specialist. I helped prepare the petition with the evidence against General Drath." "Walk with me, Dr. Wells," the Emperor said. "The council chamber is the safest place now, and I believe your ambassador is heading there as well." In the maintenance corridors, Harper and his team moved quickly. Lieutenant Kayla led the way, her knowledge of the station's layout proving invaluable. "The council chamber is 2 levels up," she said. "But security will be heavy around all access points." "What about the environmental control room?" Donovan suggested. "It connects directly to the chamber to regulate airflow." Kayla nodded. "Good thinking. This way." They climbed through narrow access tunnels and crossed precarious maintenance bridges over massive machinery. Station-wide announcements continued, now declaring a full emergency lockdown due to terrorist activity and attempted coup. "Drath is trying to control the narrative," Blackwood said, as they paused at a junction. "It won't matter if we can't." "Stop those false signals," Harper replied. "How much time do we have?" Kayla checked a small device. "The signals began transmitting 11 minutes ago. Your fleet will be receiving them now. Standard Earth protocol gives commanders 15 minutes to verify unexpected attack warnings," Donovan said, so we have maybe 4 minutes before they launch countermeasures. They reached the environmental control room, a large space filled with machinery that regulated air quality and temperature for the entire council section. 2 technicians looked up in surprise as they entered. "Station security emergency," Blackwood said with authority. "We need access to the council chamber immediately." The technicians hesitated, but Kala stepped forward and showed her Imperial military identification. "Imperial intelligence. Cooperate or face charges of obstruction." The technicians quickly pointed to a large air duct. "That leads directly to the chamber's upper level." Blackwood removed the cover while Harper tried to contact Earth Command using his emergency transmitter. The signal was weak, but he had to try. "Earth Command, this is Ambassador Harper. The attack warnings you're receiving are false. Repeat, the attack warnings are false. Do not launch countermeasures. Acknowledge." Only static answered him. The station's security systems were likely jamming communications. "We have to get to that chamber," Harper said. The 4 of them entered the air duct, crawling in single file. The metal passage was narrow and uncomfortable, but after about 50 meters they reached another cover. Blackwood quietly removed it, and they looked down into the majestic Galactic Council chamber. The vast circular room was empty except for a small group of figures near the communication station. General Drath stood with 4 officers, working at the controls. "He's blocking all outgoing transmissions," Kayla whispered, "and probably reinforcing the false attack signals," Donovan added. Blackwood assessed the situation. 4 armed officers plus Drath were outgunned. "But we have surprise," Harper said, "and we're out of time." Before they could form a plan, the main doors to the chamber opened. Emperor Vexillar entered, flanked by his remaining guards and Dr. Wells. Drath turned in surprise. "My Emperor, you should be in secure quarters during this emergency." "The only emergency is your treason, General," the Emperor replied, his voice echoing in the large chamber. The Emperor's guards raised their weapons, but Drath's officers did the same. A tense standoff ensued. "It's too late to stop what's coming," Drath said. "The humans will attack and we will respond with the new weapon. The galaxy will be safer with Earth reduced to rubble," Harper signaled to the others. They needed to reach the communication system. As quietly as possible, they lowered themselves from the duct to a high balcony overlooking the chamber floor. "Your actions dishonor the Empire," the Emperor said to Drath. 50,000 innocent Neravans murdered to provoke a war we do not need. "Sacrifices must be made for security," Drath replied coldly. From the balcony, Kayla whispered to Harper. "The main communication console is there, behind Drath. If I can reach it, I can reverse the false signals." "We'll create a distraction," Harper said. He turned to Blackwood and Donovan, about to outline a plan, when Emperor Vexillar looked up and spotted them on the balcony. The Emperor gave a slight nod, understanding their intention without words. The Emperor suddenly stepped forward, drawing all attention. "In the name of the eternal Zoraxian Empire, I strip you of your rank, General Drath. You will face imperial justice for your crimes." As Drath and his officers focused on the Emperor, Harper and his team made their move. They raced down the balcony stairs toward the communication console. Drath spotted them and shouted orders to his officers. Energy blasts filled the air once more. The Emperor's guards returned fire, creating the chaotic distraction they needed. Kayla reached the console first, her fingers flying over the controls. "I need 30 seconds to reverse the signal." Harper and Blackwood provided cover, while Donovan helped Kayla with the complex system. On the chamber floor, one of Drath's officers took aim at the Emperor. Dr. Wells shouted a warning, and the Emperor moved just in time. The blast hit a guard instead. Seeing his plan falling apart, Drath pulled out a small device. "If I can't save the Empire my way, then none of you will live to see what comes next." He activated the device. "I've just initiated the station's self-destruct sequence." "Signal reversed," Kayla shouted from the console. "Earth Command will now receive the abort code." Harper grabbed a communication headset. "Earth Command, this is Ambassador Harper. Disregard attack warnings." "Repeat, disregard attack warnings." Acknowledge. After a moment of tense silence, a voice replied, Ambassador Harper, this is Earth Command. Attack response aborted. Repeat, attack response aborted. A collective sigh of relief filled the chamber, quickly replaced by new urgency. The self-destruct cannot be stopped from here, Kayla said, examining the console. Drath used his command codes. The Emperor approached, his guards now holding the defeated Drath. How long do we have? 15 minutes, Kayla replied. Maybe less. Evacuation protocols are already active, the Emperor said. The station can be saved, but the override must be done from the central control hub. Harper looked at Drath, then at the Emperor. Then let's go save this station, and maybe start building a different kind of relationship between our peoples. Station alarms announced evacuation orders. The unlikely alliance of humans and Zoraxians moved together toward the control hub, leaving behind the old hatreds that had nearly led to war. Justice for the 50,000 would come, and besides